it's Em, the beginner crafter. Welcome to another WIP video or WIPTube video. Today I'll be showing you 5 projects I've been working on, so a bit more than usual. 3 of them are cross stitching, and I'll start with that, and then 1 crochet and 1 knitting. So first, the cross stitching projects. Miranda, which is my most important, my main piece. I have finished putting in all the threads that I needed. Just this park thread is left because it's super short. This one because the next stitches where I'll be putting the thread in are a bit more far away, and I don't want to miscount where. And this one for the same reason. It is long, but it's just too much counting for now. And I have some threads parked already. At first I was working like when I was doing some order with the parked threads, so I will just continue with the thread until it's finished. And then I remembered, no, this is the one when I'm doing grid by grid and I'm parking, so this is from when I remembered that I'm supposed to park some stitches. Here is the end of the page. So as you can see, I'm basically done with this page. There are of course a few confetti stitches, but it's not really a problem. So no, it's here. It's a little bit more, but basically this page is finished. I will of course stitch a little bit in to be more convinced that the page is finished, and then I'll move to this page. But as you can see, it's also close to being finished because there were some parked stitches in here, but also I just went a lot down with it. So there's still quite a bit to do on this page, but not as much. And then those 2 pages. So I think I'm on a good track to finishing the whole row of pages this year, because I think the plan was to finish the row during the year, and it's not even a quarter of the year, and I think over a quarter of this page. It's difficult to count because I think there's 5. Is it 5? 1, 2. Oh no, it might be 4. So then I'm closer to half already done. So I'm on a good track. This gets more and more colors, so you can see there's more darker colors. It may look brown because it's from afar, it does look brown, but these were mostly green threads. So this one looks quite more colorful than this one. I mean this part than that part. But that also means quite a lot of confetti stitches, and in there weren't that many. So it's difficult to say which one is more fun to work, because this one is fun because of different colors and you get to see some more interesting things, but you have to rethread more, and that's not fun for me. And this one was, you used mostly the same color over and over again, so there wasn't as much threading and rethreading, which I liked more. So difficult to say, but this is what happens. And yeah, I made quite a good progress. I put around 900 stitches in Miranda. This time I'm over 21%, so that's also nice. and I'll continue working on it to get further and further. But it's nice to see this kind of different part of the picture for me. Then I've got Avarice, and it's super big fabric, but there it is. And in Avarice, I put about 500 stitches, so not as many. And I mostly focused on this diamond here to fill it up a little bit. And I think you can see that it's not white anymore, those lines shaping the diamond. I did work a bit on the second diamond, so you can see the shape a bit more clearly as well. And a little bit of background in here, so they are more prominent, those diamonds and those shapes. I guess you can see them a little bit better. And I'm getting closer to finishing page 2, because page 2 finishes somewhere around this line here, and then it gets to about, yeah, here. So still quite a lot to do. I'm not saying that I'm close to finishing page 2, but it's getting better and better, more and more filled. So that's also quite nice. I did get to use some different colors, more lighter colors this time, because of those lines in the diamond. But I'm still looking forward to all those golds and yellows in there. So can't wait. But it's a long way to get there, I'm afraid. So still quite a lot of time to work on that, and I guess pretty soon I'll have to work on gridding this part. Just because when my stitching moves to the right a bit more, then I'll need places to put it in. I mean, to make me see easier where I should put the stitches in. So I'll have to grid a little bit more. And then Mini Marvellous Garden, so the peacocks. I mostly worked in here and trying to clean this square, this grid where I made a mistake, well, a lot of mistakes when counting stitches, so some things didn't work as well when I was trying to put them in. It looks like most of the problem is solved. Maybe there will be some stitches around the area that I still need to switch and think about, but most of it is already done. So I think Mini Marvellous Garden should be much easier to work with now. And I do hope to go back to it and also do some nice progress. This time it was also around 500 stitches, a little bit less than that. And in here I also forgot a little bit that I'm supposed to work grid by grid. So there are some empty spaces in the squares that I just didn't really work on, but also some of them are confetti stitches, which I try to avoid working a lot of the time. I did do some cleanup, like filling in the stitches in the previous page, just because the color was the same, but mostly I worked on this part here, so it's more of a background. I think it's like a wall. This is like the arc of something, and then there will be a wall with flowers. So I guess mostly beiges and those pinks and violets and greens to work with for a while. But I'm back to Mini Marvellous Garden, and I'm much happier to work with it now after I've worked around those mistakes. And I am feeling a little bit bored, tired with my 3 projects, so I really need to find a new one to work with, to have something new, something fresh, something, just something. And I don't want it to be any of the 7 Deadly Sins series, so like the sister pictures of Avarice, because these are huge projects. I'm thinking of something small. However, I'm really not able to find my canvas. I've tried looking for it, but it's really not here. I don't know where it's hidden. And I don't really want to buy new canvas. I mean, I still have to start the black work for 2023. I mean, it's March and I still haven't started. But it all goes down to finding canvas. I also had canvas that I bought for Black Work 2020. And it's also hidden somewhere. So I need to do some more thorough cleaning, I guess. But I don't know when I will have the time for it, so I don't know when I really will start the projects. But because I'm feeling so bored and tired, I might have to give breaks to some of the projects so that I can sort of start fresh with them. And now the crochet project. I did continue working on it, and I did make a decision. I need to rip it. I need to get back to the beginning, because it is too thin. It is too it is not wide enough for me. What I haven't made is the decision how wider I want to make it. Because I don't really know how much wider I need. I think the most useful for me would be to make it wider by 1 repeat of the pattern. It should be enough to form a nicely proportioned rug. However, the color changes that are happening and the yarn eating, it's still not a lot. And I would like to see more of it. And with making it wider, just 1 repeat of the pattern might not get me very, very far in colors if I want the rug to be nicely proportioned. So maybe I should make it wider by 2 pattern repeats, but then it looks like it would be too wide for my purposes. So I need to do some maths on how I want to work it, because it's a hard decision to make. And I guess if I make 1 pattern repeat on the side, sort of, it will be like 1/3 bigger, a third of what's here. So those pattern repeats should get like a third faster. I guess this is 1, 2, 3 repeats. So the fourth one would be somewhere here when the third is. And then there will be the new one already in the length that I have here. So yeah, it could be nice. I'm also thinking, because this color change, I really don't like the way it looks. And I'm thinking, kind of, because I saw somewhere that you may do it, that you can sort of make a border like during your stitching, just sort of to show the pattern a little bit more. And for that, you would just do 1 stitch more on the side of the same color that you have. But then that stitch, the last stitch that you would have here and here, although on this side it's not really a problem, this side is clean, but on this side all the changing would happen already on the stitch that is not part of the pattern. So you could easily, while making the border, you can quite easily hide it better. And adding those stitches, I know it's just 2 stitches, but it does make things wider again, and it could make this color change happen quicker. So I think this will be my solution, although that would mean an even number of shells in here. But then I realized, but on the row up, this will be an odd number of shells, and vice versa. If I do an odd number of shells here, there will be an even number in here. So it will always be an even number, and I'm not a big fan of even numbers. I don't know why, but sometimes my brain works like that. So I think I'll stick with 1 more repeat of a pattern, not 2. And yeah, this is how I'll work it. Just first I need to rip it apart and this will take a while because it's a bit more complicated to frog like 2 rows at a time, and then you have to wind the yarn a little bit better, because then you change the yarn you're ripping. So it will take a while, and it will take a while before I start the new version of the project, because I may move to some other projects anyway. So it might be a while before you see Aphirite again. I think it's a beautiful pattern, so if you want to make it, go to Facebook, and there's a page for this designer, McMama Makes, and it's in the files. You just need to be in the group, and you can find it for free. It's really interesting and beautiful, so go there and have at it. For a while I won't be making it, because I need to change direction where I'm going with it. And my last project is knitting. It's just a tension gauge, but it is something. I realized I completely forgot how to cast on. It just doesn't work. I mean, I mostly remember how to do a long cast on, like long tail cast on, but I'm not too fond of it, because you have to know how much yarn you're going to need for the tail, and since I'm a beginner, I have no idea. Unless the pattern tells me exactly how long something will be, I have no idea how to make that calculation. So I mean, here with the tension gauge, with the gauge thing, I could do it because I guess I'll forget later, so not a big problem. But yeah, I have to look for another kind of cast on, and I went with Chinese waitress cast on, which can be done also using a crochet hook, which I find helpful. But anyway, this is the cast, this is the thing. I guess if I blocked it, I probably would be much closer to the tension gauge they want, but right now it's a little bit too small, which I guess means I should use bigger needles. But also, it doesn't really look like what it's supposed to. I mean, I knitted this in the pattern, but it just doesn't look the way it's supposed to. I mean, the shape in here kind of does, but there should be some holes around it, and they should be really prominent, and they should also create a pattern, and they don't in here. And also this part, I know it's a dark yarn, so you can't really see well, but this kind of ridge doesn't look the way it should. It is crooked, and it's my fault. I skipped a stitch somewhere, but it's just not, the stitches are not clean. So I think this pattern is a little bit too advanced for me at the time, and also the yarn is a huge problem. This is Drops Bell yarn, and it is mostly cotton. It's cotton, viscose, and linen. I think this is not yarn, or these are not ingredients of yarn for beginners. This yarn is quite coarse. It stays on the needle, which is problematic because it's difficult to slide the whole thing when you need it closer to the other needle. It also splits very easily, and also my needles are not super sharp ones. I found it very, very difficult, especially the first few rows, to even go through a loop. It just was terrible. Then I changed the way I was making my knit stitches, because usually when you do knit stitches, you go from here, from this side, and I find it terribly difficult. So I do the sort of twisted knit stitches, so I go from the back of the loop. It is much easier for me, and it did make work faster. I don't know if that's the reason why the gauge swatch doesn't look the way it should, why the whole pattern doesn't look the way it should. But I think it's, for the moment, it's just not the right pattern and not the right yarn for my skill level. And in the design, this is the thing. It looks beautiful. It looks super interesting, but I'm unable to make it at this point. So again, I'll have to frog it, and I'll have to think of something else. Maybe try a different yarn use the same pattern but with a different yarn. Maybe that will help. Or maybe just try something completely different, because maybe this pattern is also too difficult. So I guess I'll change yarn first, because that's how it's just easier to make that decision, because I just need to choose yarn, which could be easier to work with. But choosing a different pattern, it's already making a lot of decisions. So I guess I'll try this pattern again, and just in a different yarn, and maybe this one will be a better choice. As far as I know, cotton yarns are great for garments because they make you breathe and they make your body breathe. So I will want to make something out of this yarn, but for the time being, it's just not for me. It struggles with me, and I struggle with it, and that's not the way it's supposed to be when I'm trying to make something, especially when I'm learning to make something. So that's it for today. I hope I'll have something to show you next time, because I'll have to keep frogging and ripping, and I need, I guess, some break from cross-stitching, so I do hope there will be some progress next time. When we see one another, well, you will see the video, not me, and I guess I won't see you either. However, if you want to leave something after you visit, please do like the video and leave a comment in the box below. And if you haven't subscribed, consider doing that, because then you can follow the progress that I'm making and the decisions that I'm making with all my projects. Thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next time. Bye!